I think it starts here. Before anything can begin again, something has to end. For a long time, I sat with the weight of who I thought I was supposed to be, sitting in rooms that didn't really feel like mine, wearing a life that didn't really fit. But sometimes, you have to move. Not to escape, but to remember. Out here, there's no noise to hide behind. Just the rain, the thunder, and whatever's still alive inside you. I wasn't searching for answers anymore. I was finally quiet enough to hear them. And maybe that's where it really begins. I used to think I had to run from everything I couldn't fix. Feelings, memories, even parts of myself. Escape just felt easier than dealing with the pain. But the thing about running is, no matter how far you go, you always take yourself with you. You think about the moments you can't take back. The version of you that never quite made it out. The people you let go of or lost too soon. The promises you made to yourself that you never kept. And when you finally stop running, when you're really alone, it all catches up with you. Not to punish you, but to show you who you've become because of it. That's when it hits you. This is the journey. All of it. The pain, the quiet, the wonder, the mess, the doubt, the beauty, the stretch of road that almost broke you. You don't get to skip the hard parts just because you're tired of hurting. And somewhere in all of that, I stopped trying to go around it. Because I finally understood. The obstacle is the way.
Yeah, I guess I just want to use this time to talk a little bit and to reflect. Um, I've been wanting to take this trip for years now. I remember telling Kristen, I don't know, I feel like I need to just go and drive, and be alone somewhere. Not because that's what I want, but I just felt like I needed this time to really work through things in my mind. And as I'm sure everybody knows, things get busy and things get noisy, and you end up having feelings towards things, and you suppress them because your schedule doesn't permit that you feel. And I just remember thinking I need to just go and feel. I've really spent the last 5-6 years working in and out of my little corners, to push through and work through things. It has not been easy. it's been pretty tough. There's 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 this deep part of me that like doesn't want to burden people with my problems because I feel like I've felt so burdened by people's crap over the years that I just think I never want to be the person that is burdening other people with my problems. And I don't know if that's a right or wrong thing to think. I mean, intuitively it feels like it's the right thing, but I just feel like I've made so much more progress relying on myself versus relying on like other people or things because I've had to force myself, you know, cat backed into a corner. I've had to claw my way out of a lot of different like mental and emotional stresses and struggles that I've dealt with. And I feel like I've made the best progress. The reason why I wanted to take this trip, one is because I wanted to have that time to feel. Um, but the other reason why is because I feel like I'm in the best mental and emotional place I've ever been, which is feels great to say that because I do feel mentally and emotionally fortified. I feel stronger than I've ever been. I feel the most content. I feel the most passionate and loving and empathetic and just everything. I feel so strong. I'm the most loving person I've ever been now. Um, and I just feel that with every interaction and thing that happens with me in my life. I've watched this documentary so many times. It's called I'm Heath Ledger. Um, and it's a documentary on Heath Ledger and his life essentially. And there's so many people that have passed away that I've looked up to. Um, that you never like pay attention to them or take their lives into consideration until something tragic happens, and then all of a sudden it hits you like, what? Wait, they're gone? They're not here anymore? Well, I will never know this person, especially if they didn't ever like openly talk about themselves or their lives. How else would you know about them? And and that like really traumatized me. I mean, like Robin Williams' death, Paul Walker's death, Heath Ledger's death. Like these are people that like I looked up to that changed my life, shaped me into the person and creative that I am. My tastes, things that I like, is because of them. And anyway, I've watched that documentary so many times, and I've just been hung up on the fact that I I I don't ever want my heart to be forgotten. You know, like and not forgotten. I even more so like unheard. Yeah, I mean unheard. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the best way to put it, but watching Heath's documentary, I had already felt close to him in the artistic sense that I loved his choices artistically. I liked the projects that he worked on. I liked how he always wanted to diversify himself as an artist, and I feel that deeply. Like that's all that I care about. I want to be able to um impact people in many different ways. I don't want there to be like one specific thing that I do, and I kind of learned that early on when I started training as an actor. I just knew that there was going to be things that um not always will be, that there's going to be things that I won't always be choosing the conduit of the impact. There's going to be things that I'm going to do creatively that are going to um push me to grow as a person as an artist, and also um impact in multiple different areas. And anyway, aside from the artistry of it all, like I just had this like deep feeling like watching Heath's documentary, it made me, and I've watched it probably 150 plus times. It made me realize more than anything that like people people don't know me. And watching that documentary showed me that, people didn't really know Heath. And I even learned so many things about him as a person that I even felt more that I felt like I could relate even more to in that documentary. And it just sucks that, he's not here anymore, and that there's a lot of people that have passed and that aren't here anymore, and you would never know them deeply and intimately, and I think that is such a loss to the world, because I know that these people would have been even more impactful had people heard and seen their hearts beyond the art that they were conveying and creating. Yeah, I know that's like really long and long-winded and drawn out, but I just feel like, and I'm gonna probably say that so many times, I just feel like, because that's that's the only way that I can articulate these emotions. Is like I feel it, and I feel like, and I don't know if that's the best way to say it, but yeah, I feel like there's a lot about me that the world doesn't know, and I'm not saying that I'm going anywhere, but I'm just saying that, I just I want the people that know me to know me. I don't want people to think that they know me. I don't want people to know a version of me that they might have met in the past. Um, like I want people to know me. I feel like even me, like, moving into these next areas of my life creatively, I feel like I'm understanding the responsibility that I have even more. Um, and even the things that I want to create, understanding like the impact that these things could have, like truthfully understanding the impact. You know, I've been on social media, and creating and doing things for the last 10 years, and things go by fast, and you don't realize how fast things go by until you look back and realize, wow, that was 10 years ago. But there was like a young, ambitious kid in me that has always wanted to perform and make people laugh or make people cry, whatever the case is, and social media was that outlet for me. And I was more aware of how many people I could reach, and how well my creations would and could perform, than I was the impact they were having. And I feel like this last 5 years has been like my heart now attaching and relating and connecting to the impact that I'm having. Um, like, something, it's just random, but like I respond to all my comments on everything. Um, I genuinely try to respond to everything, because I feel like anyone that is gonna sit there and watch me and devote their time, um, first of all, my heart is filled with gratitude, because I value my time, and I know that you value your time, and I hope that the things that I create bring value to you in a way that your time spent is worth it. Um, I feel like you are more deserving of my attention than I am of yours, and I feel that deeply. I also, like, I'm grateful. I'm just extremely grateful, and I feel like the ego has ruined this industry. It's probably been ruling and ruining this industry. I mean, I'm not that old, so I haven't been in it long enough, but just seeing it from the 10,000-foot view now, having been in it for as long as I have, I've the ego has just ruined because people want and want and want, and it's greed. And there's less connecting and there's less understanding the influence and the power behind the things that you're creating, and more, what can I gain out of it? And that has been the biggest struggle in me that I've been fighting, because the only thing I want to do is act, and the only thing I want to do is create and write. But like having like being around these kinds of people, it's really disheartening and it sucks, because it's a deep-rooted problem within them that you're not going to fix. And I've been around plenty of these people where I've tried to be that person for them, to hopefully open their eyes and give them a different perspective on things. And it's been far and few in between where I've actually seen those kinds of things impact them and affect them in a positive way. It just doesn't really end up working out. But yeah, the ego has died in me a long time ago. I remember I had like a little stint back when I was on Vine, and we were young kids. Like I was 19 years old. I turned 20, and then I moved to Los Angeles from Canada. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what I was getting into. All I knew is that like things were working out for me in the way that I've always dreamed they would. And on top of that, there was money. I was making anywhere from to $200,000 a month as a 20-year-old, and that kind of shit hits you harder than you've ever been hit when you're young, naive, and the one thing that you want is paying you tenfold. Like I mean, I laugh about it now because it was just such a crazy time, but like I was lost. I didn't know what I was doing. I lost the part of me that I cared about the most. I went from like longing for this artistic freedom and being able to impact people and reach people, to trying to make as much money as I could, or trying to figure out different ways to gain more of a following. And it was like less about the impact and less about the quality and more about the quantity and how quickly I could do it. And I mean, that was like me from like 20 years old to 23 years old, 24 years old. And then, as the years go by, you really start to wake up, because you see time go by and you don't see that fulfillment that you've always wanted happen or come to fruition. I don't know. I felt less fulfilled, and I was chasing so many things that I thought were maybe better than the thing that I ultimately wanted. And I met a lot of people along the journey that genuinely never changed, and their egos never died, and they still live and do the same thing that they've always done. Their journey has been the same, and I feel like I've found myself in removing myself from the things that were really um, corrupt and affecting me mentally and emotionally. And I think it really hit me when um, I started struggling. Like I started having severe panic attacks out of nowhere. I've never had a panic attack in my life. And I've been in really stressful situations multiple times. I've never had a panic attack in my life. I've had stress built up many different times in my life. I've never had a panic attack in my life. I mean, there's just a lot that I've even been through childhood wise and even throughout my teenage years that, um, you know, you would think that those things would be the things that would cause you stress, like that level of stress that you would implode and suffer from anxiety and panic. I never had a panic attack, and Hollywood really like brought me to my knees. And I remember just convulsing. Like my panic attacks were so bad. I called 911 so many times. I've been carried out of restaurants in stretchers, which is it's so embarrassing. But like I had a really bad panic attack, a horrible panic attack where I literally was shaking, and I couldn't breathe and I couldn't see, and I thought I was dying. And my brother was with me at the time, and I just looked over at him and told him, like, please call 911. Like, I'm not right. Anyway, therapy sessions and time spent alone in my condo and whatever it was made me realize, like, I think I know. I think I know what needs to change. I don't think this is an anxiety disorder or a panic disorder. I think there's things causing all of this pain inside me, and it's coming out in different ways. And I think I realized at that point, when things were getting really bad for me, panic wise and anxiety wise, that I needed to change. And I moved more and more and further out west of LA and found myself, about 45 minutes out west of LA. And the time that I spent, the last 5 years away from Hollywood and spending time working on myself mentally and emotionally and creatively and talking to myself in the way that I deserve to be talked to, changed me. And I'm forever grateful for that. And now I'm in this like different season of my life where, this trip has been something that I've been like really looking forward to over the years, and wanting to do something else that kind of pulls me out of where I'm currently at, and challenges me to think a little bit more. And I've never done anything like this before. I've never been alone. I'm been alone in this van for 3 days now. I haven't talked to anybody, and I barely have connection up here. And I think it's been beneficial in the way that I feel like the things that I am feeling while I'm here are important, in a good way. And the things that I'm feeling are positive. None of the things that I'm feeling are negative. It's what's hard about it is like I'm feeling things that I should be feeling that I'm not feeling day to day, and it's like hard to actually get to feel those things, and you know feel them in a way that I guess you just wouldn't otherwise feel them. I'm not used to the silence, that's for sure. I'm really loud and really fun to interact with because I'm just always a psycho. So like the silence really pulls me back. Kind of my energy just dissipates because it's just so quiet. There's nothing to go off of. I don't have anything to motivate my, you know. But yeah, I guess it's been hard for me um to, and I don't know if any of you have, if anyone watching has seen anything that I've been creating on Instagram, and just the different creative angles I've been taking. It's been hard for me because I feel like over the years I've been, I guess, not the most truthful to who I am as an artist. Um, I have a great personality, and I know that. I'm aware of it. I like to have fun, and I like to create funny things. It's natural to me. But I feel like artistically, I've really been suppressing myself and stopping myself from taking those leaps because I've always felt like, well, comedy is working for me, so I shouldn't explore anything else. And that's been a mental struggle of mine for a long time. So it's been like maybe like almost 6 to 8 months now that I've been creating some like different little pieces, little vignettes on Instagram, um, that I've never created anything like this before, and honestly they're doing really well. They're performing well. People are enjoying them, and I've been actually really happy with the response that I've been getting on them because I really felt that it was just a hard leap. I felt that like nobody would care. Um, and I felt that like I didn't think that they would impact people in the way that they have been. So there was a part of me that thought like I would be wasting my time by creating stuff in that nature, and the things that I actually am really excited about creating. Um, I've basically gone back to school and taken a few different courses on um, cinematography and color grading and lighting and all that stuff because I feel like I've had to be a one man band my this entire journey, this entire career that I've had has been like one man band. I've had to come up with all the creative. I've had to storyboard everything. I've had to edit everything. I've had to film everything by myself. Like I've had to play multiple people. Like what I've played, I've had to play multiple people in order for me to be able to film a scene or something that I want to create because I haven't really had other people to be there in that way that I've needed. So I felt like when I wanted to create more cinematic pieces, it was going to be impossible for me because I didn't have really anyone around me that was down to create things like that or that I could collaborate with on things like that. So I was like, okay, if I'm not going to have people around me that are willing and interested and also care as much as I do about creating these pieces, like I'm going to have to learn just like every other time that I have. So I've, you know, forced myself and went into these corners and tried to learn as much as I could so that I could create these things that I want to create and tell these little stories that I want to tell. It's been very rewarding. It's been very tiring and very stressful because unlike social media content, which for a long time I was able to get away with filming on an iPhone um and there was just an ease to it. I got really good at it. So it was like it was like a turnkey well-oiled machine that at any point in time I could film something and it would be easy. It was not difficult for me at all. If anything, the conception of the ideas was um, conceptualizing the ideas was the hardest part for me. That would take like I would sit on an idea for months. Like a lot of the videos that have done really well for me over the years that if you've seen them, um, I've like sat on those ideas for months. I would come up with an idea in my head and then try to convince myself that it wasn't good enough. Because if I could convince myself that it wasn't good enough, then I wouldn't make it, and then I would move on to the next one. And a lot of the ideas I would have to sit with and go over and over and over and over and think of different punchlines and um different structures of the timing of the joke and whatever. And maybe it was a one take, or maybe there was only two cuts to it, and I would sit through it and through it and through it and through it, and then finally, if it was good enough in my mind and for me, I would I would take a stab at it and film it, and if it wasn't, I would just shelve it. And there's like thousands of ideas that I've shelved that you never know, could have they could have been received well, and but I talked myself out of them. So these new things that I've been creating, which make me feel closer to my acting side and my directing side, are much more tedious um and take quite a bit of time to do and to get things right. And oh God, don't get me started on color grading. It's a whole other beast, and I'm nowhere near being a professional at it. But like, there's just so many intricacies to color grading that now I have a specific taste and style that I really want to hit every time. And if I can't hit it, it's just the most frustrating thing because I'm sitting there in front of a laptop trying to find ways to actually achieve that look that I want. Whereas before, like I didn't think about color when I was filming, you know, um, skits and stuff like that. I literally would just film them. I didn't care what they I didn't care what they looked like. I just would film them, edit them, and put them out and put them out. I feel like my heart has always been in a good place in terms of like caring for people. And I, I, Kristen gets on me because she's like, you gotta take more care of yourself and stop giving so much of you to other people. You don't give anything to yourself, and then you wonder why you feel certain ways about certain things because your time and energy is like really because like there's a there's this part of me that like there's this deep part of me that feels like helping people is healing me, and not in a negative way, like in a way that like I wish that I would receive help sometimes. Like I wish that sometimes people would look at me and hear me talk, or just acknowledge like something that I'm working through and whatever, and offer help, and I've been stubborn and I've put myself in situations where I'm really the only person there for me, because I just think I have to fix and work on everything by myself. But there's that deep part of me that like wishes that someone really would just come and grab me and be like, I got you, and let me know what you need, and I got you. And I've never had that, but I felt like, and I feel like I've been that person for people so many times, and I enjoy doing it because I feel like I'm living vicariously through them receiving this help. And when I can help somebody, and I can help them with something they're struggling with, or something they need help with, or something that they're trying to achieve, if I can help them, that I don't know, I feel like a piece of myself in them. And when I see them happy and ecstatic, or grateful or whatever, like I feel like that is me also in them. If that I don't know how to say it. But yeah, I know, and I'm aware of it. It's not that I'm not aware of it. I'm aware of it. I give so much of myself away and to other people and help people, and sometimes people that don't deserve it. And I think that's a fault in me that I need to work on, is like acknowledging when it's warranted and when it's not. And there's been times where I've given help to people that haven't deserved it, or have mistreated me, and I still help them. And like you do so much for people, and the people that appreciate it set a fire in me that I can't explain. The people that appreciate it and like are grateful, and even just give me a hug and be like, bro, thank you, and I couldn't have done that without you, or I appreciate your time. Like that sets a fire in me. Like it's weird that like you going out of your way and helping somebody, and them just having gratitude motivates you and inspires you even more. Like there's a synchrony there that I feel is godly, because I'm sure everyone can relate, like helping somebody and then you seeing the impact that you've had on somebody after helping them, and how that makes you feel. Like you're supposed to do it, and it's a godly thing. It's not this feeling that we all can relate to just because. I think it's God, and showing us that like we're supposed to do this for each other. But yeah, there's been a few different scenarios where, you know, and it would be perfect, um, and the world, I'm sure, would be perfect if we were all aligned, and um and understood each other. But you know, people go through things, and I have empathy, so I'm never angry. That's the thing, is like I'm never angry. I would never be angry or vindictive or anything like that. I'm not that kind of person, and I also like don't have time. But yeah, I guess like as I've gotten older, I've realized that I'm more empathetic, because I know that there has to be things that are going on with people that you don't know, and you can't save everybody and you can't be there for everybody, no matter how much you want to, and no matter how much you help or you have helped. You might think that you've helped somebody so much to where, like, to where there would be loyalty. You might think that you've loved someone so deeply that there would be a loyalty there because you've been there so much for somebody. And that doesn't exist. Not in every scenario. And that's been a harsh reality. It's like you will be a villain and demonized in somebody's eyes no matter what you do. And a lot of that you have to understand has to do with them. It's not a you thing. So understand, and there's just some things you're just not going to be able to understand and have answers to. And there's stuff that is going on and happening behind closed doors that you're never going to see. Um, Not everybody wants to share everything with you, and when scenarios like that unfold, it's hard to understand. You know, it's ultimately not worth stressing over. But the thing that I have learned is that um, no matter what happens with anybody, family, friends, no matter what happens with the people that you do help, um, it's the point that you've helped. You know, not the retention of the relationship or whatever. If things fall apart, or if people walk out of your life, or if people villainize you for something that doesn't even actually exist, you have to let all of that go and just know deep down in your heart that you've done what you needed to do as a person, as a loving person. And it's really it is a freaking it is a harsh reality, because you want to think that everybody is like you know and the hard part is that not everybody is like you. There's this mirror reflection analogy that I've always loved, because I've just always seen it, and I've connected with it, and it's happened time and time again. Some people only like the reflection when it resembles them, but when they start to see something different, something other than themselves, if you start to grow a little bit faster, if things start to change for you in your life, if you reach milestones that you've never reached, and all of a sudden you're no longer relatable to that person, they don't see themselves anymore. And what happens when you feel disconnected? I mean, there's turmoil, there's all kinds of crap. And I've seen it time and time again. And when you're in a different place in your life, or if you start to grow at a level that's not equal to the people around you, all of a sudden you become the villain. And it's not because you're doing anything wrong, it's just because they don't see themselves in you anymore. And how can you look in the mirror and look at yourself, look at a version of you that doesn't exist, and try to relate to it? I mean, I understand it. I've been there multiple times. That the difference is, though, with me, like, that I've put so much effort into this because I know it matters. Is I don't I don't villainize people, or I don't treat people differently. No matter the accolades or success that somebody's had, or where they're at in their lives spiritually, like, I do not treat people differently. Um, and it's just weird, because, like, I feel like that's normal. Is to at least not villainize somebody. You know? Yeah, sure, if you don't relate to somebody anymore, and your relationship doesn't make sense and whatever, sure, like, yeah, absolutely, change is okay. You can meet new people and start new friendships and do all that. It's completely normal. And it's happened to me multiple times. But, like, to paint somebody in a bad way because of your discontentment, that just, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me. I've never felt that way, ever. I've never felt like angry at somebody, and even jealousy and envy, you know? Like jealousy, never. I feel like I've got my mind and my heart to a place where I'm always rooting for people, you know? It's again, it's that thing where like I wish that I wish that there was more people rooting for me. That like when I root for other people, I feel like I'm rooting for myself. You know what I mean? I feel like m- a, I'm giving myself that. But maintain the relationships in your life that are good, you know? There are going to be those people, friends and family that are going to be long term with you and are going to last. I have tons friends and family that have been consistent with me forever and and have the same like moral compass that I do, and um that that we align with emotionally. So like it you're going to have those people that work with you, and that's amazing. And hold on to those people. Hold on to them and continue to care for them, you know? Like don't ever stop caring for them because it's important that you have those people in your life. And they are there, and if you don't have them right now, you will find them. Eventually you're going to meet people or someone that's going to change your life, and that's going to be there for you in ways that you didn't think a human could be there for you. And I really wish that for everybody. I wish that everybody gets to have those people that are there for you, because it's, it is the best feeling, and you feel so whole when you have people that see you, when you have people that acknowledge you and see your heart and see your intention. Like that's huge for me. Like it's the most important thing for me is intention behind everything. And it's important when you have people that see you, but you will find them if you haven't found them already. And if you have them, hold on to them, care for them. There's going to be a point in your life where you're going to realize there's two sides to everything. In every relationship or situation, you're either going to be the giver or the receiver. You have to be able to acknowledge which and when is your time. You can't always be on the receiving end. You can't always be the one that's receiving in a situation or a specific circumstance. There's going to be times where you're going to have to be the person that's going to give and be there and give love and energy and time. You know, the, that's that's a really important thing that I've learned, that I've learned how to better acknowledge those situations, so I know that, yeah, this isn't my time to be receiving, and I'm not going to get what I want out of this situation. I'm gonna have to be the person that's gonna be there for the other person, or in that specific circumstance um where we keep balance in check, because that's life, is balance. If you're always on the receiving end, there's something wrong. And if you're always on the giving end, there's something wrong. So yeah, like I'm working on that. I'm working on like trying to receive more, because I've been so shunned to the idea of receiving, and I've isolated myself, and I've really only just been there for people, and been there for myself when I've needed to be. But yeah, I mean, I've been I've been working on trying to acknowledge those situations better and knowing when it's okay to receive, because that's the other thing too. Like I've been trying to to relearn that it's okay to receive, and that you're worthy of receiving in certain situations. And you have to also know that in the situations where you're among other only receivers and people that are only receiving, then you have to kind of look at your circle and figure out like where you can be in better harmony with other people that also understand that. But yeah,